Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to Easy Maths by Suhail Raza. Students, today we are discussing about decimals. What are decimals in maths? So as you can see on the screen, a decimal number can be defined as a number whose number part and the fractional part is separated by a decimal point. So suppose I have a number that is 12, then a dot, and then another number that is 50. So here the decimal number is that number in which there is a decimal point, and before the decimal point there is a whole number, and after the decimal point there is a fractional part. So these two things are separated by a single dot that is said to be as decimal point. Then the dot in a decimal number is called the decimal point. So this point is said to be as decimal point, and after a decimal point the digits that follow the decimal point are smaller than 1. So here this 12, then point, then 50, this point, and then these numbers are smaller than 1. So we usually read it as 12.50, but that is not the correct way of reading this decimal number. So instead of reading it as 12.50, we should read it as 12.50. So this is 12.50. So these parts, this is a whole number. This point is a decimal point, and this number is decimal part. So a number that comes after the decimal is said to be as decimal part. So dear students, how to write these numbers and how to make fractions of these decimal numbers. But before moving there, let me tell you one thing, that we use place value charts, that is ones, then tens, then hundreds, then thousands, then 10,000s, and so on. Students, in decimal numbers, after ones there is a point, or we can say that there is a decimal, and then after what follows the decimal, that is opposite of these tens, that is here, that comes as tens. Then instead of 100 there comes 100, thus. Then in place of 1000 there comes 1000, thus. So that means whenever we have to find the place value of any number, suppose we have number 128.523, so how do we write it in the place value chart? So here this decimal point, before decimal point there is a whole number, that is 128. So this comes in ones, tens, and hundred. That is 8 will come in ones, 2 will come in tens, and 1 will come in hundreds. So this will be our 128, our whole number. Then a decimal in place of decimal, and then these numbers that are decimal parts. So these are 5, then 2, then 3. So what does this table represent here? This table represents here that 1 should be multiplied with 1, 10 should be multiplied with tens, and 100 should be multiplied with hundreds. But same after decimal, the decimal parts should be, this 5 should be divided by 10. That means we have to divide the number here by tens, the number here by 100, and the number here by 1000, and so on. So students, this is our easy way to write any number here. Suppose students, if we have a fraction, that is suppose 5 by 10. So how will we write this 5 by 10 in these? So as you can see here, the denominator is 10, so we will write it here in tenths. So that means it will be 5, and if we have to write the number, what will be the number? So that is 0.5. So we can't write 0.5 directly. So before point we will write a 0 here, so that it will become 0.5. Same if we have a number that is suppose 25 by 100. So how will we write this 25 in place value chart? So how will we write it? So it's the same case. The denominator is 100. So we will move to hundreds place. So this to 5, or we divide this 25 by 100. So when we divide this 25 by 100, there comes 0 point, then 0 here, 100, 2 are 200, this 5 and 0 will come down, and then we add one more 0 to it, then 100, 5 are 500. So here the numbers are 0.25, but we have a shortcut method for this. How we write this here? How we find the number that will we write instead of this fraction? So how will we write it? That here it is 100. So denominator is 100. So last digit here is 5. So we will write 5 in hundreds place, and then the 2 before that, that is tens place, point here and 0. So our number will be 0.25, which was a number here also. So students, this is the way of writing the fractions in numbers. So after this, how we convert a decimal point or a decimal number? Suppose we have 0.4 divided by 10. How we convert this 4 divided by 10? How we convert this into decimal number? We usually divide this 4 by 10. What we obtain? That is 0.4. This will be our answer. But how we did it? So there is a thing, as I have showed you, we use place value chart for this to obtain 0.4 from 4 by 10. This is our answer. Now students, if we have a decimal number, suppose 5.25, and we have 0.6. So we have to convert these decimal numbers into fractions. How do we convert these numbers? First and foremost thing is we check the numbers, that is 5, then 2, then 5. So we will write it as 5 to 5, and do not write this point here again. So instead of point, what we write? We write 1. That is, it will become our denominator 1, and then after 1, how many digits are there? There are 2 digits. So we will write 2 digits here. So instead of 2 digits, we will write 2 zeros here. So that means 5.25, and fraction for this will be 525 divided by 100. Same is the case with this number. So it is 0.6. What we do? We will write 6 here, and then instead of point, we will write 1. And how many digits are after 1? There is only 1 digit. So we will write only 1 0 here. So that means 0.6 is equal to 6 by 10, the fraction for it. So students, this was all about decimals. Inshallah, we will meet in our next video. Till then, Allah Hafiz.